Good morning. Today at Toronto Police Headquarters, Acting Inspector Joanne Rudnick of 22 Division will provide an update into Project High Class.
Thank you, Jen. Good morning. I'd like to thank you for coming to Police Headquarters today. My name is Acting Inspector Joanne Rudnick from 22 Division. I would like to inform and thank the members of the public and the media for assistance that has led to the arrest of 8 persons for multiple residential break-and-enters over the past number of months. Since the fall of 2016, police officers from across the city have been engaged in an investigation into a group of individuals responsible for multiple residential break-and-enters. These break-and-enters have been occurring during the day, evening, and nighttime hours. As a result, 22 Division responded by creating and commencing a project known as Project High Class. The project focused on identifying, arresting, and preventing break-and-enters in targeted boundaries within 22 Division. Activities included intelligence-led efforts, examination of evidence, witness interviews, increased patrols, and community engagement. From these efforts, officers from our major crime unit received information that a black GMC Acadia was seen in close proximity to one of these residential break-ins. On January the 28th, 2017, at approximately 5:30 p.m., officers were in the area of Eglinton and Royal York Road when they observed a vehicle matching the suspect auto description. There were 4 occupants inside. Officers also observed a second vehicle, an Acura, with 3 occupants being operated suspiciously also in the same area. These vehicles were stopped, investigated, and the occupants were arrested. Officers recovered numerous items inside these vehicles, including 2-way radios, burglar tools, cell phones, clothing, and bags. Further investigation led to 2 criminal code search warrants that were executed on addresses within Toronto where a large quantity of stolen property was recovered. Officers seized jewelry, expensive handbags, cash, coin collections, stamp collections, a signed Nathan Horton game jersey, and electronics. A conservative estimated value of the stolen property recovered is approximately $500,000. The items on the table represent a small sampling of the items seized in the investigations. Officers are now working to identify the owners of the recovered items and will be releasing a website through the Toronto Police Service containing photos of the seized property in the upcoming weeks. By using this website, complainants will be able to view the items and contact the investigators online. When an item can be identified and ownership proven, it will be returned to the rightful owner. Investigation has identified items stolen in several residential break-ins within Toronto and as far away as Montreal. 8 persons have been arrested to date and charged with conspiracy to commit an indictable offense in relation to 26 residential break-ins. The following persons now stand charged. Sergio Vilo, 63 years, of Toronto, is charged with break-and-enter and commit times 11, break-and-enter with intent times 4, attempt break-and-enter times 6, possession of property obtained by crime over $5,000, and possession of burglar tools. Next stands charged Diego Fuenzalida, 24 years, of Toronto. He is charged with break-and-enter commit times 11, break-and-enter with intent times 4, attempt break-and-enter times 6, possession of property obtained by crime over $5,000, and possession of burglar tools. Gabriel Pena Gutierrez, 39 years, of Toronto, is charged with break-and-enter and commit times 11, break-and-enter with intent times 4, attempt break-and-enter times 6, possession of property obtained by crime over $5,000, and possession of burglar tools. Maria Pardo, 59 years, of Toronto, is charged with possession of property obtained by crime over $5,000. Also, 3 young persons were also charged with break, enter, and commit and possession of property obtained by crime over $5,000. Officers are continuing their investigation and believe that additional charges will be laid in connection with these break-and-enters. I would like to thank the members of 22 Division, 11 Division, and 43 Division for their assistance in this investigation. Thank you.
What's the relationship between these people?
These people are a ring. We are calling them a ring. And they are working. They are highly organized. They are targeting certain areas and neighborhoods, certainly within 22 Division, which is south of Etobicoke, and they are working together in order to commit these crimes.
This because there's no relation or anything?
I'm not 100% sure that there's a relation between them.
Now, like there's cash up here, how would someone prove that that's theirs?
It's seized property at this point. We'd have to be able to speak to those complainants on those entries. We'd have to go through and review the occurrence reports and able to determine that.
Is some of this counterfeit, and why would they steal like hats? Or is none of this looks real? Like,
Well, I'm not going to, guess as to why these individuals would like this type of property, but this is the property that's been recovered.
I know the value of a couple of those items up there on the front. Can you just highlight a couple of the more expensive items?
Well, there's certainly, I like handbags, so I know that Christian Dior purse there is a very expensive handbag. You can look at some of the jewelry items, the pearl items. There's numerous watches. My officers tell me that there's hundreds of watches that have been seized as a result of these arrests. So there's a number of watches up here, high-end watches, stamp and coin collections as well, all with a value totaling $500,000.
Do you know how much that really sparkly Rolex is worth?
I wish. No, I don't.
Okay.
Is this ring any chance working in conjunction with another ring that was busted? I think it was a couple months ago. Similar situation, residential break-and-enters and high-end items.
Yeah, we're certainly not suggesting that this is the only ring operating in Toronto at the moment. Certainly that investigation will continue to see if there's any links to other possible rings that are working.
And where are the houses they broke into? Whereabouts were they? Just
Well, we have, of the 25 break-and-enters, 21 of them occurred in 22 Division, which is south of Etobicoke, south of Eglinton to the lake, Humber River over to the Peel border. So 21 of the 25 that we have so far connected are within those boundaries. And we called it Project High Class because they were targeting very high-end homes with an expectation that expensive items would be able to be had from those break-and-enters.
You said like they were doing it morning, noon, and night. So like, were they stalking these residents?
I don't have any information on that. I can tell you that the time of those break-and-enters were occurring throughout the day and the evening hours, but I don't have any specific information as to that.
high-end homes usually have burglar alarms, and they get caught by that, or how do they circumvent the burglar alarms?
I'm sorry, can you say that?
Burglar alarms. Most high-end homes have extensive video and electronic.
Certainly, some of the investigation that we conducted were of seizing private residents' surveillance video. Certainly, that is a part of the investigation, and we used that, obviously, in order to get us to the point where we identified that vehicle, and then officers happened upon that vehicle on that day. So certainly, that is a way for us to do our investigation by residents having surveillance video. And as I mentioned, these are high-end homes, with the expectation that they probably would have a video. So that's certainly something that we use.
And but did they circumvent the burglar alarms? The
I don't have
alarms?
any information on that, no.
So they were setting off the alarms anyhow and just getting in and out, or?
It doesn't take long.
Was there ever any interaction with the homeowners at any time?
I asked that question of my detectives, and no residents were home at the time of these entries.
Does your investigation possibly have more arrests in the near future?
I think so. We are continuing to look into these parties and to their associates, and looking as to other police services, not only in the GTA, but as I mentioned, we have property that extends to Montreal. So obviously our investigators are reaching out to the investigators and other police services in the GTA in hopes of looking for that. And we do anticipate that there will be more arrests.
Any of these homes have dogs?
Not that I'm aware of.
And the Christian Dior does match your.
Have these these items, are they just on display and already been returned to their owners, or are they being posted on the police website?
Currently, right now, there's been really a lot of diligent work being done by my officers in the major crime to itemize every single item that has been seized. You can imagine that's going to take some time. So we have to go through each necklace, each ring, and there's wedding rings in here. We have some medals from, it looks like possibly from the World War, some very sentimental items. So that's why I'm hoping that in doing this press conference today, that people will go on that website and look for their items and contact the investigators online, because we want to be able to turn this property to its rightful owner.
But wouldn't these people have, like, reported a break-in and you could kind of, do you know what I'm saying? I mean, these people would have, if your home's broken into, you report it to the police, so doesn't that shorten things? Could that help at all?
Not necessarily. As I mentioned, some of this property has gone as far over as to Montreal. And so, in making those connections, are people on the website, knowing about the website? Because a lot of these items, we're not, obviously, we can't say right now. Hopefully, people will come forward and to get their property returned to them.
Going back to the first question, are these people related family-wise or through ethnic backgrounds, or how are these people related?
I'm not 100% sure how they're related. We're obviously, through investigation, looking into that.
Have they appeared in court? Will they appear in court?
They have appeared in court. Their next court date, I'm told, is March the 14th, Toronto West Courts, courtroom 202. That is their next court date.
Are they in custody or not?
Some are still in custody, and some have been released on bail.
That concludes today's conference. The 18-year-old mentioned he was a YO at the time of the allegation, so cannot use it because he was a young person. Yes, and those are of all the adults, but the 18-year-old that was mentioned, he was a YO.